Next Level Mindset here with another powerful and positive video. Let's talk about 3 things they don't tell you about spiritual awakenings. I'm going to share my insights on that research that I've done. And if you stay with me on this all the way through, I've got some bonus insights, personal empowerment, things that I know you do not want to miss. By the fact that you're watching and listening to this right now, this is confirmation that you're waking up. And this is an early bonus point. Number 1, a spiritual awakening is not something that happens all at once. It is something that usually happens over time. We'll talk more about that as we get into this. And the first thing that they don't tell you about spiritual awakenings is that it can be a physically challenging situation. I know even in my life, as I began to grow spiritually, there were things that I stopped eating. There were things that I started doing, working out. And you may be watching this right now, and one of those changes in your life is being more active, exercising, getting out into nature. And you will find that those physical changes that you make can make it physically challenging for you as you begin to wake up in the spirit. And the good thing about this is that there are certain things that we can do to ease that physical strain, right? There are certain things that we can do. I like doing yoga sometimes, just stretching, not really doing a major yoga activity. I really don't know all the dynamics in it, but just stretching, getting out into nature, exercising. Different states of those awakenings can be physically challenging to you, but that's just part of the process. And if you're someone who read the ancient texts, in the ancient texts, they would call this ascension symptoms, just physically challenging things that go on in your body, in your physical makeup. We're all physical manifestations of the divine being of God within us. We'll talk more about that coming up in a little bit. When you begin to experience spiritual awakenings, as you begin to go through certain levels of spiritual awakening, it can be challenging on your physical well-being. And one thing that I learned in my life along my journey is that these physical changes, it's really just the body trying to keep up with the mind, right? We have a mind, body, spirit, the whole interaction of our 3-part system of our interaction, 3-dimensional being on this earth. Our bodies just trying to keep up with the things that are going on in the mental and spiritual realms. And sometimes they can be intense, sometimes they can be mellow and non-dramatic, other times they can be major. Also, never look at it as something wrong if you have to consult a physical caregiver. There may be some physical therapy involved. Even things like that is just a part of the growing process. It is a part of the journey. And what I've learned to do in my life is to just be easy with myself, take your time, be patient, be forgiving, and choose to understand. And as long as you understand that and see that, you can move on and you can continue to grow with your spirituality. And by the way, if this is your first time here or you've been here before and you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel if you want to stay empowered and inspired. We'd love to have you here as a part of the Next Level community. The next thing they don't tell you about spiritual awakenings is that it is an ongoing process. It starts with an idea, but from my experience, it is not something that just happens one time and overnight. For some people, it can take days before you begin to see a change. And for others, it could be even months or even years. And if you really think about it, it is an eternal process because we are always growing, always advancing. And so what I've found in my life, from my experience, having a spiritual awakening or different levels of spiritual awakenings is about learning different things that we never really knew was true. It's about advancing in certain areas. For example, even in my career, playing the piano and playing music, there was a time when I only knew how to do a C chord. Then I began to learn more and I knew how to do a C, D, E, F, G chord. Then I learned how to do different transitions and different notes. I used to only play in the key of C. Then I learned how to play in the key of E flat. So think about it like that. You're starting out with a certain spiritual principle that will lead to another spiritual principle. And before you know it, you've gained certain insights to where you know certain things just don't line up with other truths, right? So it's not an overnight process. From my experience and from my life, I found that it is an ongoing process, something that takes a little time. It could take years, it could take months. And I've learned to never judge other people from where they are in their spiritual life. We're all exactly where we need to be in our spirituality. This is a spiritual awakening. The next thing they don't tell you about spiritual awakenings is that it will increase your intuition and your sensitivity to certain issues. You will find that where before things never really affected you, or you really didn't see certain things, you become more sensitive, and your intuition, you know things even before they take place. You begin to see things even before they are in the physical. You can see them in the spirit. You begin to have an extra sensory perception. Some people call it ESP, right? You know what's going to happen even before it happened. That spirit, that Holy Spirit, that divine spirit of God within you will begin to speak to you and tell you not to do certain things, not to go certain places, not to hang around with certain people. You know how it is. You have that certain gut feeling where you know something is not right about this. You have a sense that something is just not right about that situation, and you go another way. You make up in your mind that you're going to be sensitive and intuitive in every area of your life. And that's just part of the spiritual awakening process. And the thing about this is that if we don't have that balance that we'll talk about, it may cause problems in your life. That's why it's so important to be sensitive to certain issues, but to also realize that there is a certain level of equality that has to take place. But that is just part of it. And what I've learned to do in my life, I always learn how to follow my spirit. One of my sayings said that I am always led by the Great Spirit. Therefore, I always know exactly what to do. So I'm always listening and always watching, intuitive, knowing that the God within me is going to lead me and tell me exactly where I need to be. Always in the right place at the right time, doing and saying the right things to the right people, constantly placing myself in the right position to receive everything that God has for my life. Also, keep in mind, trusting your intuition is really a learning process. Sometimes you'll trust your intuition and you'll find out that it may not have been the best thing for you to do. But you have to learn that process. For me, it took a while for me to begin to realize that every now and then I will choose to make a decision that might not line up with the best, but it's always going to work out for the best in the long run. Remember, this thing is higher than us on this physical earth. This thing is bigger than who you are right here in this manifestation. So trusting our intuition, trusting that power of God within us, knowing that all is well. Now, I've got some bonus insights that I want to share on this spirituality, but first I just want to share this with you. If you are enjoying the content on my channel, consider becoming a member. We have a membership in our Buy Me a Coffee site. You can enjoy that behind the scenes, never seen footage. Buy a coffee, take one of my books home with you. Any way you want to do it, there's links in the description for you to do just that. So this first bonus point that I want to share, it really deals with the idea of spiritual awakenings. What levels are we on? I talk about that in another video, that we're all on a certain level. We're all on different levels. And something that may be considered a spiritual aspect and a great awakening for one may not be the same for someone else. In my book, Mystic Secrets of the Bible, I talk about how it says in 2 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, it talks about being servants of a new agreement, that we are not under the agreement of written laws, but of the Spirit. Written law brings death, but the Spirit gives life, right? We are actually the awareness of God. Your spirit is eternal with God because your spirit is God. And I go deeper into that with my book, Mystic Secrets of the Bible. I would love for you to grab a copy of that and take it home with you with the link in the description. Also, keep in mind, as you begin to grow spiritually, this will also lead to you being able to see through the nonsense. You will begin to see through those things that people try to tell you that are simply not true. In fact, there are some lies that we've been told about life that really don't line up. And I'll talk more about that in this video right here coming up on the screen. I think that would be a great video for you to watch next. So check that out and enjoy it. Thanks again to my subscribers and returning viewers. I really appreciate you. Hit the like button, share this on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't done that. Stay blessed, stay positive, never give up, always stay true. Until next time, I'll see you on the next level. Peace.